Hey guys, this is Matt with ComaxGaming and welcome to another SourceMod tutorial. So in this lesson we're gonna actually continue the plugin we started last week, which was basically something like an entity handler, we can call it, like with cheats off. So that way we don't need cheats enabled. Okay, so first of all let me get something. Okay, I just needed this code because I want to show you something in a second. But yeah, so like I promised, this week we're gonna actually view how to make a entity of any kind, and we're also gonna do some property handling, which is not that easy. So let's start with the creating prop or an entity. So we're gonna write console cmd. We're gonna create a prop actually. It's gonna work the same for any entity, so you're gonna be able to do it yourself for any other entity. But if you have any questions or anything, you can leave it in the comment section or in the forums. It's better in the forums, but yeah. So the callback is gonna be like command prop, no description at all, and let's public action command prop client args. We're gonna return. Okay, so you know how in any source game you can create props by using this command. Unfortunately, this command only works with cheats enabled. So if you're in a server that does not have cheats enabled, you're not gonna be able to use this command, unfortunately. But you can do it via SourceMod. Right, so that's not that bad actually. So what we're gonna do is actually say we wanna get the model for the prop. So let's get sm what am I saying? If args is less than 1, because we only wanna create props. By the way, these are gonna be prop static, not prop physics. You can convert it later if you want with a phys convert. I think it's phys converter, like that. You can create that entity, and yeah, you can check the Evolve website to check out how it works. Google the entity name and it should be the first link. So yeah, reply to command client, please enter a model name, and we're gonna return here as well. Okay, so very basic stuff. arg1 to get the argument or the parameter they typed, and get cmd arg number 1 arg1, and this is isof arg1. Okay, so once that we have all this information, we want to start creating the entity. So first of all, we want to create a new ent index. Now you're gonna see why in a second. Now you want to say create entity by name. Now the name refers to the class name of the entity, so you gotta check the class name of the entity you want to create. So the class name is gonna be prop dynamic, no, static. And the force edit index is set to -1, and it says the edit index used by the created entity. Sorry, I messed up while reading that. Basically it's saying, okay, so if you set it to -1, I'm gonna SourceMod is gonna set the entity name, I mean the entity index, or the game is. But if you actually put something that is not -1, SourceMod is gonna force the game to give this entity that we're creating this entity index, which I don't recommend, so leave it at -1 or default. If you don't want to, you can edit that, but yeah, I'd say leave it like that, don't touch that. Okay, so once that we created the entity, we're gonna want to check if it actually exists. So if ent index does not equal -1, It means if the entity was actually spawned, then we want to say dispatch key value. Now dispatch key value actually sends an output to the entity. I don't know if you ever tried scripting for the source engine, but it's like end fire, the end name, add output, and here at the output, like for example model blah blah blah. That's basically what dispatch key value is gonna do. As you can see, it says it dispatches a key value into the given entity using a string value. So yeah, there are a bunch of others. So let me see. So as you can see, you have float, a vector, and then you have dispatch spawn, which we're gonna view in a second. But wait, so the end is gonna be the end index, of course, since this actually works with it. The second parameter, closed, is gonna be the actual output name. So it's gonna be model for us. So we want to set the model. And the third parameter is gonna be the value of that you want to assign to this key. So it basically it's key and then the value here. So ours is gonna be arg1. So for example, if you were to type in arg1, I don't know, this prop like sm underscore create prop and then space and this, then it's gonna actually have that in there. So in here we're gonna have this if we type it here. I don't know if you get it or it's actually confusing, but that's the way it works. So arg1. Okay, so what else do we need? Let's actually dispatch. No. Do we need anything? Oh yeah, I want to set these if it's solid or not. So yeah, and index comma. This is just in case, right? Solid, and we want to set this to 2. You can actually add an extra argument, and then say okay, add the solidity here, and then you can send it here. It's the same. You know how to do that because I already explained like how to convert strings to integers. So actually, it's a good way of practicing. So yeah, you should. And nothing else, I believe. So we're gonna say dispatch entity. Dispatch spawn. My bad. Spawns an entity into the game. So this is gonna force the game to create it. So the entity is gonna be ent index force. We can should we? And yeah, we're gonna say dispatch key value ent index. We wanna set the target name to yeah. Okay, so we want to set the target name to something like, I'd say the name of the player. Actually, no. Let's set it to the, yeah. What do you guys say? I don't know. Let's convert actually. Oh, we have to say it. Actually, we're not gonna say the target name. We're not. Yeah. Else, we wanna type here. We wanna say reply to command client, and we wanna say cannot create entity. So here we can add something else, and we can say is valid entity. Oh my god, there we go. And now the class name. I mean the ent index. This is actually gonna check if this entity that we created is actually valid. So if it like is part of the game. Basically, we're doing something similar to this, but yeah, different. Think about it that way. Okay, so now that we've done that, we want to go ahead and do sm set. Now actually, we're gonna get prop model, and we're gonna get the prop model here. Public action. Copy, paste, client args, beautiful, brilliant. And give me a second, guys, and I'm back. I just had to get the actual property name, so give me a second. Okay, so we're gonna get the entity index. So we're gonna do that by getting the aim of the client. So new ent equals get client aim target client and false. I want to do the same thing we did in the previous video, because yeah, not cool. Now we want to say if ent is bigger than or greater than, actually doesn't equal -1. I don't know why I'm saying that. And is valid entity, and then we want to say okay, he's aiming at a prop, hopefully. Actually, new, we're not gonna check about that. You know how to do it. If you don't know how, well, you should. You want to check this. So you want to do the same thing as here. Let me copy and paste. So if the class name equals prop underscore, so if he's looking at an entity that actually has that part of it is that class name, then we want to continue. So we're going to say new string model name, and we're actually going to give it 130 characters. Okay, now get entity my god, entity prop string. There we go. This stands for get entity property string, so the string of the property. And if we expand this, it says it gets a network property as a string. Don't freak out, wait a minute. So let's complete this. So the entity is going to be ent. The property type is actually going to be prop data. Wait a minute, don't freak out, I'm going to explain this in a second. Wait. Prop, the property to use is going to be the one I copied, so we're going to leave this as blank for now. The buffer is going to be model name, and the max length is going to be actually 130 characters, which is the same as this one. You can use size of that one, but I don't want to, so I'm going to actually cut and paste. This is the property that we're going to use. Every entity has properties. This property is actually it's a property from the entity prop something. I think most of the entities have the model name. I believe so. I don't know. You'd have to check out. So prop data. What's that? If we actually open the entity.inc in the include folder, if we go here, we're gonna say okay, prop send. It says this property is networked, and prop data, it says this property is for save game data fields. What this means is this prop send is actually going to be an entity that's being handled by the server that actually is part of the server, because when they coded this engine, they made some entities be networked, like server side, and some entities be client side. Same thing with properties. Some properties are in the server, like networked, and some are locally saved, I believe you can call it that way. So yeah, that's where we're using prop data and not prop send. You most likely use prop send when you actually are setting the property, not getting it. You actually use prop data most likely to get it. Some of us like that, but yeah, most likely. It's kind of confusing, I know. You're gonna have to like do this tutorial again to actually understand it, because it took me a while to get used to this. So now that we have the name stored here, we're actually gonna say okay, reply to command to the client, and we want to say okay, entity. We want to actually print a lot of info, the class name, and then finally we want to say model name. Okay, entity, I set this as an integer because we're gonna actually print the entity index here. So int the class name that we are getting here, and this is gonna throw an error. Okay, there we go. Capital letters are important in SourceMod. So class name, and finally we want to set the model name, so it's model name, and voila, we're done. Return. It's that easy, guys. It's not that hard, you know. So yeah, we get the prop model. Here by getting the actual aim. So when you aim at the prop or anything you're aiming at, this is gonna check, okay, is this an entity? And if it's an entity, it's gonna say, okay, let's get the class name of the entity. If that class name has the word prop underscore in it, then it's gonna continue with this, and it's gonna get the model name using the get ent prop string function, which is gonna get the string value of this property for this entity that we are looking at, and then it's gonna save it in the model name variable. Finally, we're gonna reply to the command and say the entity index, the class name of the entity, and the model name. To create the prop, we actually want one argument, which is gonna be the model name. Then we wanna have the argument 1. We're gonna save it. We're gonna create the ent index, and we're gonna create entity by name. We're creating a prop static. Kind of, it's a prop. You have prop dynamic, prop physics override, simple physics prop, something like that. A bunch. You can check them out. Like, you can Google, and yeah. It's gonna check if this is a valid entity, the one that we created, and if it is, then we want to set this output or key value and this key value, and then we want to actually spawn it into the game. Actually, I forgot something. Duh. God damn it. So, okay, new float, origin. We're gonna give this 3. So it's gonna be an array of floats, and I'm gonna say get client AVS origin. So this is gonna get the client position, the current position of the client. So client is gonna be client, and the vector is gonna be origin. As you can see, it has the 3 over there, and then we have a 3 over there. Origin. Yeah. Okay, so now we wanna say here, dispatch entity float. No, my bad. Okay, so after we create the entity, we want to teleport. Oh my goodness. T-E. Where are you? Hello? Teleport entity. Bam! We get a lot of stuff. The entity is gonna be the entity index. It says client index, but it works for any entity, so end index. I misspelled that. So the origin is gonna be actually origin, and the angles we're gonna use null vector, and then null vector. Okay, null vector again. Actually, we want to set this. Wait a minute. We want to say, okay, so where is he aiming at? So we want to modify the origin to, we want to set it plus equals 20.0. Now we're gonna see this in a second, because if we actually leave it as default, then the prop is gonna actually spawn in the client, so you will be stuck. So this is gonna actually prevent that from happening. So let's compile this. Scripting tutorial. One error. Line 55. Oh, my bad. Float. So it's 2.0. So yeah. Because actually we're not setting a string. This is to set strings, and this is to set numbers, I believe. So yeah, let's recompile, and then we get no errors, and I'm gonna go in game and test this out. Okay guys, so let's create prop, and we're gonna give it a model name. So we're gonna say actually have the prop name here. So we're actually gonna have to add models / and then we create it in front of us. Now it's not gonna create it under our crosshair. Unfortunately, it's gonna create where we put it. So yeah, you can actually change the position by doing the teleport entity anytime you want. So yeah, and then we're gonna do sm get model name. No, sm get prop model. And as you can see here, let me move the console a bit. It says entity 67. The class name is prop dynamic, and the model name is gonna be the one that we assigned. So what does it say prop dynamic? Let me show you, because I had to change some stuff. So first of all, in the command prop to create a property, a model, and the argument 1 is actually gonna have 150. This is actually to show you which is x, which is y, and which is z in the coordinate. And then here at the top, no, actually nothing here. Here we want to change the prop static to prop dynamic. Apparently they changed it, so prop static does not exist anymore. But yeah, this is how to create entities. This is how to actually play with entities, manage them, and all you want. So I hope you liked it. Next week I'm gonna actually do SQL finally. I hope so. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please rate the video up. I'll see you next week.